Hey, how you doing, guys? Just wanted to apologize. I haven't been making videos as much as I used to. I usually try to make at least one per week, two. Due to I have to watch my son during the daytime now, and so I got to do this late at night. It's actually about 9 or 10 at night. Plus, I broke my toe, so that my mobility's down to about 50%. Sorry about that. So here we're going to talk about Apple. Of course, they released their macOS Catalina and also released a bevy of other things to go along with it. And we're going to kind of focus on Final Cut Pro 10, Motion and Compressor, which they updated as well. Now, it's not really, well, Catalina is kind of a bigger change, but all three productivity apps, video editing, animated graphics, and compressor, they're not really huge changes as far as features or things like that. In fact, they're really made to support the new 2019 Mac Pro that hasn't quite come out yet, but should come out sometime this year or a little bit later this year. And also, let me see what get their name right here, which is the Apple Pro Display XDR, which supports all this. So I'm not going to name necessarily every feature, but I'm kind of going to focus on the ones that are the older Macs, things that'll support the older Macs perhaps, or some of the later Macs, and not just the new Mac Pro 2019. Now, what's great about these updates is you don't necessarily have to use Catalina. You can use Mojave. So if you have an older computer that doesn't support, let's say, Catalina, you can still use it in Mojave with an older system. So that's great to note. And we're going to take a look at some of the list of features. Of course, like I said, this is really not everything. So I'm going to, like I said, concentrate things across the board. Use a new metal-based processing engine. So they kind of, I guess, re-updated Metal 2. It's going to give you enhanced playback, rendering, compositing, and exporting. And same actually for Motion and Compressor, and I'll actually go into that as well. And let me go back to my frontal view here. And also, let me see right here. Optimizes up to multiple cores now, up to 28. And like I said, this is one of the big updates for the 2019 Mac Pro coming out. Also for some of the older computers as well, especially with the new metal engine. It's not just the 2019, we're going to see speed boosts, but also some older supported metal graphics, or Macs that support metal graphics. Now, it won't be nearly as much, of course, as the 2019 Mac Pro, but we should see checking out some other people have used the new version. You're going to see anywhere from maybe 12 to 15% speed enhancements, or faster speeds, especially in graphics, and maybe even multiple CPUs as well. And also, you're going to the ability to select if you have multiple GPUs or even eGPUs. I can't talk today. And we actually got an example right here, which you can go into preference and playback. And mine's grayed out, even though I do have the 2013 Mac Pro. And I guess by default, it uses both graphic cards in that particular system. So also, if you're using an external GPU like an eGPU, you're going to switch between either one, which is a nice addition. Like I said, there's not necessarily much features for this for all three applications. It's mostly under the hood, but we do have one kind of a bigger feature, I guess you could say, and this has to do with color masking within Final Cut Pro 10. Now with color masking, you can utilize HSL settings for your color mask, and I'm giving an example right here. We're just going to select color board and then masking, and here once you select your color range, you can go down there and select it by HSL. Just to give you an example. And let me see if I missed anything else. Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about Motion and Compressor. Okay, Motion, the newest version that just came out is 5.4.4. And of course, Compressor version 4.4.5. Of course, with along with supporting the new Mac Pro, of course, the 2019 Mac Pro, and also obviously the Apple Pro Display XDR. It's also going to based also on the new metal-based processing engine, and it's going to give you basically the same features, even between Motion and Compressor with playback, rendering, compositing, exporting. It's going to improve speed and optimizations. Maybe not as great depending on if you have an older Mac or you're going to get the new version. Now with both applications, Motion and Compressor, it's also going to support load balancing between GPUs. And often we see this, not necessarily in Final Cut Pro 10, it could be other applications where even though you have multiple GPUs, even that it supports it, sometimes you'll notice if you monitor the GPU load that it's not quite, usually one GPU uses 100%, the other one hardly uses any. Well, this is going to balance the load between both of them and utilize to the maximum. So you're going to see load balancing, of course, CPU core optimization up to 28 cores, which of course kind of goes into the new Mac Pro. So those are some of the new things that Apple has come out. So you can download that right now from the Mac App Store. And until then, see you guys later, and thanks for watching yet again.